All right, guys. Tops 85 here, and I am doing a video response for Mr. Fisherbike, Jason. So he wants to get things kind of moving in the community, get more involvement, get talking about what brought us all together in the community. So Jason, awesome, love it. And he wants us to show sentimental cards or cards that mean a lot to us. So I'm going to show you guys some cards. So I'm going to do three categories. I'm going to do childhood. I'm going to start off with childhood. So the first time I ever opened packs was back in 1978. And this is a first card I really remember loving to look at when I was a little kid. I was probably about 5 or 6 years old the first time I saw this card. And I loved it because I had all the stars like on the top of the card and the stars on the bottom of the card. And then it said, most times 2 homers in inning lifetime. And it just blew my mind that somebody could hit 2 home runs in 1 inning. And just that image of Willie McCovey. Just an absolute awesome card. Totally remember always having this on the top of my deck of my cards. And I don't know, my dad probably bought me like 10, 20 packs of cards back in 78. But that was my first experience buying cards. And then later on in 1983, when I really started collecting, when I was spending my own money on cards, I was a huge A's fan. I lived right by the BART station. And BART, you could take BART right into the Oakland Coliseum. And I used to love taking BART to the A's games. And of course, my favorite player was Ricky Henderson. And I love this card because that little tag right there where it says 1982 record breaker. I just thought that was the coolest freaking thing ever. Just a record breaker card. Like, this guy broke a record. This must be a really cool card, right? And then it says establish modern record for steals in 1 season. I just love that look on Henderson's face. You know, you could tell he was studying the picture, getting ready to steal another base. But just an awesome card. Love this card. And when I was a kid, I always put my cards in like team order. And so the A's, of course, were always in front because they started with an A. And bam, that was a top card in the first team. So this is always a card I was looking at. Now these, of course, are not the same cards from my childhood, but these cards, the images on these cards are just awesome. I love them. They are very meaningful to me. Those 2 cards are just awesome. Now I'm going to flash forward, and these are the most sentimental cards with my family, okay? So the first card that my dad ever gave me for my baseball card collection, I've told this story before, and he let me pick any card out of his collection that I wanted, and I didn't want to take his mantle, but I had to have the Bob Gibson. And I was probably about 20 or 21 years old. I think he gave it to me for my birthday one year, and he said, pick any card. I didn't want to take his maze. I didn't want to take his mantle. And I just really started to learn about Bob Gibson, the pitcher, at that age, and I just had to have this card. I loved everything about this card. I loved the image of Gibson. I love the fact that it had the pink color around it. I love the fact that this card is like pretty worn out too. It's by no means a mint card. If I graded it, it would probably be like a 2, maybe a 3 at the very, very best. No creases or anything, but just in general, quite a bit of wear. And then I remember reading the back, and it talked about how Bob Gibson was on the Harlem Globetrotters. I just thought this was the coolest card ever. And, of course, it's a high number card. So love this card. First card my dad ever gave me out of his collection. And then my son's 10th birthday, somebody gave him, I think it was like from 2011, they call it it was like the Topps Hot Box or the Chrome Hot Box or whatever. Or not Hot Box, but Mega Box or something like that. And it's from 2000, oh man, I don't even remember what year that Stanton's rookie is. But it's this card right here. My son got that box, some kid, it was like $20 for the box. And he pulled like a Jason Hayward patch autograph, another autograph. And he got this Mike Stanton autograph. It was like a retail box. I couldn't believe how lucky he was. But I'll never forget when my son pulled this card. He went absolutely berserk. And at the time, he knew all about Stanton. He was a hot rookie. And, God, this is 2010, I think. Yeah, it's got to be 2010. Well, my mind is drawing a blank tonight. I just can't believe how many years it's been, actually. I remember the moment like it was yesterday. Anyway, since then, my son got out of collecting, and he sold this card to me. So he was more than glad to sell it to me. And I was more than glad to buy it from him because of the memories. But he didn't want it anymore. He didn't want his cards anymore. So I said, this card is not going anywhere. I will buy it before you get rid of it. So it's now in my collection, but I'll never forget when he pulled it. So the Mike Stanton rookie auto, PC for life. Love that card. And then at the 2017 Nationals is my third category. And so the first one... I know Mike O, Aaron Davis, Jay MVP are all going to remember this card. It's a Greg Maddox, but I actually pulled this card out of a pack while the four of us were at a baseball game in Chicago, the White Sox, and Mike O was doing some like pack break videos, and we were just opening up a bunch of junk wax packs, and I pulled this card out of the pack. And I went absolutely berserk. I was kind of being funny, but at the same time, I was like, oh, cool, a cool card. And then I wanted to act silly, so I went a little bit berserk. I'll put a link down below for the video where I pulled this card out of the pack. I have a bootlegged version of that video on my channel, so I'll put a link down below. And then the last card, this card has quite a story leading up to the purchase. But it's this one right here. And this is, it was an epic pickup. But the reason why this card has so much sentimental value, there's all kinds of reasons. But at 2017 National, there were a lot of people involved with me purchasing this card. Starting with the night before I purchased it, I was talking with Mike and Brian. And both of those guys are super collectors. And they both have bat knob cards, and I needed like some counseling because this is one of those cards that never shows up. Obviously, it's a one of one. And I knew at the time when I saw it at the table that it was the only bat knob autograph card in existence of Barry Bonds. Not that this card's the only one of this copy, but it's the only card, period, bat knob auto. And anyway, so I talked with Michael Shane and Brian, and they kind of helped guide me and helped me decide to make the purchase. And then the next day, I went to the table first thing in the morning, and Aaron Davis, my buddy, was recording me making the purchase. And I was like in like autopilot when I was purchasing this card. I'll put a link down below to Aaron Davis's video as well if you guys want to check it out when I purchased this card. But he actually recorded me completing the transaction with the dealer. And then afterwards, I was walking around and I run into Mr. Fisherbike. And he's like, Nate, there's a card you got to see. There's a card you got to see. You got to check it out. And I had this card in my pocket and I pulled it out and I said, look what I just bought. He was like, that's the card. I can't believe you bought it. So anyway, there's all kinds of reasons why this card has sentimental value to me. Not only is it a monetarily very valuable card, but just great memories behind the acquisition of this card. So guys, there we go. Jason, thanks so much for the idea for this contest. I love it. And guys, get in it. Do some video responses. I'll put Jason's video talking about this video or contest, put that link down below as well. So I'm going to put a bunch of links down below. Check out all the videos. Why not? All right, guys. So anyways, that is it. These are some of the more sentimental, meaningful cards in my collection. All kinds of different cards for all kinds of different reasons. So there we go. And happy collecting. And Jason, you are a true awesome YouTuber. Peace out, guys.